Welcome everyone to episode number 25. I can't believe it's episode 25 of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. Can you guys believe it? Let me know in the comments. Jenny Gold in the green room, can you believe it's episode number 25? I can't believe it. I'm so excited. Let me know if you're excited. Show me with an emoji how excited you are. Carol Ulker and I created the show as a safe space where cancer survivors and cancer supporters come together to share their stories and connect, as well as find resources that provide healing, hope, and resilience. I am Tim Stone, a 15-year cancer survivor of showing and host of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, co-host of the Tim and Jim Show, and a live stream show and virtual event creator, producer, and coach. Thank you so much for joining us and showing up tonight. Please let us know where you are joining us from. We want to know where you're joining us from. We want this to be an interactive conversation. And I am just getting used to being a host and a producer and all the things. So yeah, there's the ticker, episode 25 right there. And Jenny Gold is smiling and laughing down in the green room. And there's the other ticker that I didn't show yet. So there's that one. And yeah, so there we go. I'm really excited for tonight's show. And so excited that I'm, a little bit behind with all these things. But before we bring Jenny Gold on, I just gave her guest name out. Not that you guys don't already know, because I've been promoting the show like crazy, but I just want to briefly mention that coming up on Friday is the Open Your Hearts and Wallets 12-hour fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Man and Woman of the Year philanthropic competition. I'll mention it again later, guys, but definitely would love for you guys to show up. The event goes from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And there's 10 live streamers who are volunteering their time, and there are cancer survivors and supporters showing up throughout the event to share their stories and their family members' stories. And we also have musicians and comedians showing up, and others as well to show up and support the event. So really appreciate your support. Also, if you are interested in donating to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, I'm going to put the link in the comments now. You could donate today. You could donate on Friday or anytime in between, or until May 18th. That's when the event is over. It's a 10-week campaign. So I'm just going to drop that in the comments right now. And you guys are blowing up the comments. So thank you so much for bearing with me. The link's down there if you guys would like to donate at any point. Thank you so much for all of your support. I also just want to briefly mention that I have created a LinkedIn newsletter as well called Perspectives on Cancer. And I'll put the link for that as well in the comments. So you guys could just click on the link there to subscribe to that. And in that newsletter, guys, which is a bi-weekly newsletter, so every other week, and it will have show updates as well as upcoming events. In September, there's going to be an in-person Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer event here in Pennsylvania. It will also be live streamed, so it'll be a hybrid event, as well as resources for cancer survivors and supporters in the newsletter as well. So if you're interested in subscribing, I think there's about 600 people signed up so far. Would love for you to subscribe to that as well. But now I want to bring on our guest. I want to bring on our guest tonight because this is a very special guest tonight. She is a very special guest. She is the one and only Jenny Gold. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, bacon. I have a piece
Jenny
for you
Gold,
too.
you have your bacon.
I have bacon for you too.
And I have the puff, Jenny Gold.
Exactly.
Hi, Jenny. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on your show. Well, kind of.
Well, kind of, right?
I mean, yeah. But maybe background of us.
Yeah, I mean,
He's like, yeah, well,
well. I mean, you gave me the safe space for me to share my cancer story for the first time on your podcast, not podcast show. And you're also going to share your connections on and perspectives on cancer tonight as well. So thanks for being here tonight.
I need to tell people though that he hadn't told anybody about his cancer. And one time he said to me during my class, because I took a class with him to learn how to go live, he said to me, "Is leukemia autoimmune disease?" I'm like, "It could be. I don't know." I'm like, "I think so." I was like looking up, trying to figure it out. We're live, and I'm like, "I think so." So that's how we came out with this. And there was one date that actually Nancy Liz Hill couldn't be on my show. I said, "Hey, Tim, do you want to be on my show?" And I didn't even know what to talk about. I was kind of thinking. So I had 3. Remember, I used to have 3 podcasts a week. And I was like, so I'm panicking. He's like, "Okay, I'll be on your show on Friday." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "I want to come out on your show." And I was like, "What about?" He's like, "My leukemia." And I'm like, "Oh, Lord." So that was kind of tough for me because my dad passed away from leukemia lymphoma. So I had not talked about that. So.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. You were like, what? What? You want to talk about what? You have what? What? What's going on?
I was like,
because remember when you were in my live streaming course.
Yeah.
And that had come up in the live streaming course. And I think you had mentioned it in the course by accident, right? Like we had said it just kind of one-on-one.
Yeah.
And then you had mentioned it in the course. And I had said something, but now we're all here, right? We're public.
I know.
There's a show about cancer. But I'm excited you're here tonight, Jenny. And welcome everyone. Welcome in to Showing Up.
A lot of people here.
Perspectives on cancer. And Jenny, how about let's go to the comments. Let's say hi to everyone. So many people here are here to support you tonight and each other. Hey, Familia, tuning in from Ohio. I'm guessing that's Alex.
I think that's Alex.
Yes. A Facebook user is saying, "I'm ready." I don't know why there's so many Facebook users tonight. That's really weird.
I put a bunch of things up. Okay. No, I did. I like put on stories and stuff like that.
Oh, is that what? It's really weird. Bill Bradford is at Notre Dame. He just went for a run and can't wait for the show to start. Hey, Bill, thanks for being here all the way from Notre Dame. That's amazing. Mark Kageyama is here to support you, Jenny. And you were just on his show recently, right?
I was, yes. Yep. And you're actually going to, Mark, you're actually going to get more of a complete story of my cancers, my family's cancer, I should say. So I have more information now. So.
Yeah, and this Facebook user has all sorts of emojis tonight.
I'm not pretty sure that is.
Let us know if we're showing you as a Facebook user. Type in your name because I'm not really sure why.
I look really quick.
Why?
I will look. How about? Let's guess who should this be? I'm not exactly sure.
Somebody says episode 25. Yeah, I mean, can you guys believe this is episode 25? Like, somebody says, "Love me some Jenny Gold." I mean, that's awesome. Emily Harmon is here, Jenny.
Yes, yep, I saw that. It's wonderful. And I'd like to
say,
yeah.
Gia in Costa Rica.
Ashok.
Katie is here. Katie is going to be our guest next Tuesday on Showing Up.
Yeah.
Hi, Katie. Welcome. Great to have you here. Shannon is here. Shannon just connected with me on LinkedIn. Welcome, Shannon. It's great to have you here tonight. So many of you are here. So many. We love you all. Yes. Ashok is here. Jenny is a beacon of light.
We need to connect. Actually, I think we have already. Mary Fane's here. Mary Fane Brandt. She's further down.
Oh, is Mary Fane Brandt here?
Yep, she's down here.
Hey, Mary. It's great to see you here. I saw Mary briefly in San Diego a few weeks ago. So thanks for being here. And Mark is here.
Yeah, Mark's here too.
Hello, Mark.
Yes, he always thinks he's really good looking.
Oh, Alex. Alex.
Oh, Chambers.
Is that Alex Chambers on Facebook?
Probably. It could be. It could be him. Was that?
Okay. Thanks
Yeah.
for being here, Alex. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So everyone, let us know in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what is your connection to cancer. Maybe you're a survivor. Maybe a family member of yours is a survivor of cancer, or a family member of yours has passed, or maybe there's some other connection. Let us know as we go through the conversation. Also, let us know if you have any questions for me or Jenny as we go through the conversation. We want this to be interactive. What did you say, Jenny?
It's Alexandria.
Oh, it's Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, Alexandria.
Yeah.
Got it. Alex Spice. There we go.
Right, exactly.
There's only one of those for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So here we go. Jenny, should we dive into the conversation? What do you think?
I think we should, but first of
all,
all,
are you ready? Yeah.
When I had to do my show on my Canva, what did I say? I said something leukemia, something else in live. I said leukemia, live streaming, and something else. And people are like, "You have leukemia and Lyme disease, and you're doing live streaming now." I'm like, "I do not have leukemia." Like, your picture was on there, and I was like, "No, it's Tim." And they're like, "What?" So nobody knew that Tim actually had leukemia. So that was something that was a surprise for everybody. And I think he's handled this very well. I'm very proud of him too. I want to start with that. So
thank you very much.
You're welcome. So do you want me to start or just do you want to start with a question? There's so many questions.
I'll start with a question.
Well,
how's that?
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Good. So Jenny, your mom, dad, and your sister have all had cancer. When was your dad diagnosed, and could you share about his journey with us, please?
I don't know. I think my dad was diagnosed in probably 20. Let me see here. Sorry, I have to look at my notes because there's a lot of notes here. My dad was pretty much diagnosed about a year after my sister, I believe. I think so. So, or maybe a year before my sister, perhaps. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was 2012. And he was driving back from Michigan with my mom, and they had just had my sister's 1-year-old little girl's 1-year birthday party. So I was there, unfortunately, attending the funeral of the gentleman I was dating at the time, and we were in Colorado at the time, and had to fly back to Michigan for that. My mom and dad were there for my sister's 1-year-old's birthday. So they're driving back to Florida, and he had blood in his urine. He thought, oh, it's probably just a UTI or something. They went in to see the doctor right when they got back to Florida, and they're like, you don't have a UTI. I mean, for the amount of blood he had, that was not normal. So they actually did ultrasound or something. I'm not exactly sure what test. They did a test like that, and they saw that he had his lymph nodes were kind of enlarged, from what I understand. So they did a biopsy. They said he had leukemia, and so that's how that started. And I believe, from what I understand, he was diagnosed with leukemia first and the lymphoma. And we talked about this before on one of the shows. I don't really know. It's like the chicken. What comes first, the chicken or the egg type of thing? I don't know if you typically get leukemia before lymphoma, because I'm not a doctor or a nurse. I'm just going to say that right now. And Tim's going to say that too, of course. So we can So I mean, what we're saying right now is what we know from our history with our families and things like that.
Exactly.
But we're not. So Alexandria is right, Alexandra. So I don't know which one came first. I just know that they started on leukemia. They started him on chemo, and then he did that for like a little bit, and then they ended up putting on a trial. He's on the 3rd trial of a leukemia pill, not what Tim's been on, but this is something that's newer, and that's what he was on for a while. And in the end, he ended up passing. He's in the hospital. I had to fly out there. Gosh, it was like a week. I think it was a week or two ago. It was on Facebook. I flew to Florida, to get to the hospital, like emergency kind of flight type of thing to get there. And he's in the hospital for a while, and then they sent him to like a place for rehab and stuff like that. We ended up passing in the rehab place. So he didn't last that long after he was in there. I think like 2 or 3 weeks, probably 2 weeks, I think. We ended up passing, we believe, from respiratory failure. But he had a lot of other issues going on. But the leukemia lymphoma thing was very new to us. He had some pretty awful autoimmune diseases since he was a kid, ankylospondylitis, things like that really bring down your immune system. So his immune system had been down pretty much his whole life. So the one thing with him is that he didn't care. His dad passed for him. His dad was kind of a test bunny, to be honest with you guys. He had gold shots.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from ankylospondylitis. He was in Mexico getting those, and his mother was like traveling with them when he was a kid. So he lived a pretty interesting life. I mean, my dad was very successful. In the end, I mean, he never said no to anything. Like, he was just like, I can do it. And that's probably where I get my I can do it.
Yeah.
I just thought about that, and my mom too. So, but he did pass, and that was in, I believe, it was 6 years ago, I believe. Yeah. Then it was this week too. I just don't know exactly which day right now. But it was right before 420. I know that because I was having to speak at something for 420. So he told me the night he passed, he said, "Oh, you better go work on your speech. I'm really proud of you." My dad was so not into the whole cannabis thing at all, but I had sent him some some shooty salves and stuff for his foot because he was getting really bad like tingling and lots of feeling and stuff like that. And that actually helped him. So he's very happy with that.
Oh, wow.
My mom actually brought us to the hospital to put on his feet. I'm like, Mom, you can't do that in Florida. It was not legal there at all. But she goes, just don't tell anybody. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, all right. But I mean, that's what he did. And that actually made him feel a little bit better. He was able to get off a couple of the pain medications that were helping him, but he was able to get off of some of them.
So how long was it, Jenny, from the time he was diagnosed to the time that he passed?
I don't know exactly, but I'd say it's probably say 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. Okay. Yeah, probably 5 or 6 years. But I would see him at Christmas, and he'd always be like, I'm fine. My mom would be like, oh my God, he has to get another PET scan. He's not fine. My dad's like, don't listen to your mom, I'm fine. And he'd get the PET scan back, and he's like, see, I told you I'm fine. He was, for a long time, it was getting better. It was getting better for a long time. But those drugs, sometimes they could get you in the end. He was older. He was 80, I believe, when he passed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Mark says you're a fighter and a true warrior.
Thanks, Mark.
And Shannon says, so glad to be here. We're glad you're here, Shannon.
Yes, thanks, Shannon. Sorry, I started talking about this, I get I have to keep going so I don't have to get the bacon out. Right.
Yeah.
This is only the second time I did a Mark's show and your show now. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Jenny, tell us about your mom and about her cancer journey, which was more recent, right?
Yeah. It's kind of weird to say cancer journey because when you hear that, you think it's going to be some like big journey and you're going to go out on the ocean and like go on a cruise, which my parents did that a lot, but it's not really a journey. This one is not a journey. I'll just tell you that. My mom went pretty fast. And a lot of you know this because the Saturday show and the Wednesday shows with Brian and Nancy and Tim, don't do the little flying hearts. Now I have to get the bacon out. Like, you always do that, don't you? Pull up the llama, please. For the goat. So anyway, my mom was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer in October, this past October in 2021. So actually, I had Tim on my show, and then my mom a couple months later ended up with rectal cancer, which is like crazy because that was not anything we were expecting at all. So, but she was diagnosed with stage 3 in October 2021. They started the treatments in November of 2021, November 29th, and had 3 more after that. So, I'm just kidding. So, she had 3 more after that treatments, and they were putting on 48-hour chemos. So she had to get a port put in her, and she had a box, like they put a box on her for like 48 hours, and she'd have to go back to the assisted living place, and have the box on her, and she'd have to go back after 48 hours and get the box taken off. So I mean, that was really, I think it'd be hard on anybody, but my mom was 86, I think 86 when it started. So I mean, that's not very easy at 86, right? And everybody's like, she's doing what, 48 hours? I had never heard of it. My sister, as we're going to get to that, my sister's had cancer too. So my sister knew the doctors in a lot of the facilities. So she felt comfortable with that. I just didn't have anything to say about it because I didn't know what to say. Because I haven't had that. Knock on wood. I keep doing that. But she started the treatments, like I said, in November 29th of last year. And she had 3 more months after that, or 3 more treatments after that. She had, sorry, new PET scan.
Take your time.
She had a new PET scan in January of 2022, which actually showed improvement, but she decided to stop treatment because her memory is getting bad. She's having a lot of memory issues. So she had actually the first treatment that she had with chemo, she had a little bit of brain fog.
Okay.
For a few days, she had brain fog, but the second treatment, she had brain fog that lasted until the following midweek period, and then she had to do the third treatment, and she had memory issues until the 4th treatment, and that was it. So that was it, and pretty much after that, it was pretty much done. So she passed not too long after that. So, and I believe I feel really bad saying this right now, but I think I kind of block it, but I think it was sometime in March, the beginning of March, I believe, because I had Boyd on the show. So when do you have your when do we have 24-hour show?
It was March. Yours was March 9th.
Yeah. So yeah, she passed, I believe. Yeah, it was she passed before that, but just a couple of days before that. So it's hard for me to be trying to get ready for the 24-hour show.
Yeah.
But I was very like into having my podcast because of my dad and that whole thing with leukemia and lymphoma. We never did anything for leukemia and lymphoma for my dad. So that was really a big deal to me.
Yeah, of course. And look who's here. Look who's here.
I know.
Nancy Lewis Hill is here.
I was like, oh, great. Now I'm going to cry.
We love Nancy Lewis Hill, right?
We do. We do.
We do love her.
Mm-hmm.
She said lots of love to you, and that's a lot. And Katie said, your strength is admirable, Jenny. You are doing great. And Emily said, I'm sorry you lost your mom, Jenny. It was fast and so challenging for you since you couldn't see her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Lagia said, sorry, did you want to say something, Jenny?
No, I was just going to say to people, the reason I couldn't see her was because I wasn't traveling at all. I know a lot of people were traveling, but I was not going to travel at all because of all the autoimmune diseases that I have. I mean, I have over like 50. That's not even an exaggeration. I probably have more than that. That's what the doctors always tell me. But I couldn't take the chance of traveling, even by car or anything. I was just like, I just kind of been stuck in my little place here. It's nice though. Yeah. So thank you, Lagia. Yeah,
thank you, Lagia. Ashok says, cancer is never over easy.
No. Oh, gosh. No, right?
Ashok.
Sorry about that. I'm surprised we don't have another guy that's giving us some here that's going to give us some things that are funny. Right?
Are you thinking of Senor Payasada?
Yes, I am. So where is he? He's always comes on my show.
I know. I'm going to have to page him.
Yes, that's
right. I'm paging him. Senor Payasada, come make us laugh. Woody Scott Smith is here.
I know. I saw that.
Scott.
Hi.
Welcome. Scott is helping out with the Open Your Hearts and Wallets event on Friday. So thanks for being here, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. This time I'm not going to be on the show this time, but
that's okay. Thanks for helping last time.
I know. And Boyd will not be here today because he's driving back to Canada.
Yeah.
Boyd just ran Boston Marathon yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy Dunleavy, he shared his story at the Open Your Hearts and Wallets 24-hour event with Jenny Gold on March 9th.
Yep.
And something funny happened during that. Maybe she'll share it a little bit later in the show.
Yes. We'll show that later. Sorry, my
Yeah.
There. There we go. So yes, that was a funny story, but we'll show that later after my sister.
Yeah. Definitely. So thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you.
We're here on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. We're talking about Jenny Gold's perspectives and connections on cancer tonight. Let us know in the chat if you have any questions for Jenny or myself, and let us know where you're tuning in from in the world, and let us know what your connection or connections to cancer are. We would like to know in the comments. So Jenny, your sister also has had cancer as well. Would you like to share a little bit about that with us as well?
Yeah. So this one is interesting. Oh, by the way, I will say one more thing about my mom. I think I said this with the chemo. We believe her memory loss started to come from the chemo-induced memory loss because she went downhill really fast memory-wise. And she'd say, hey, can you call me back in a half hour? And we were like, okay. And we call her back in a half hour. She's like, can you call me back in a half hour? And then we call back in an hour. She's like, but can you call me back in a half hour? She couldn't remember anything. And so it started causing some issues, but that's okay. I mean, she had a lot to go through and she really missed my dad. So it's good that what happened, probably happened for a reason. So I'm sure she's with him right now. But coming back to my sister is in Michigan. It lived right by my mom when she moved back up there from Florida after my dad passed, sorry. So she was right close to her, and she was able to go through the cancer with her. It sounds weird to say that, but to be there with her and everything. So my sister, though, she, like I was mentioning, my mom and my dad were driving back from Michigan to Florida. My dad noticed that he had blood in his urine. So that's when that all happened. And my sister was diagnosed in March of 2013, right around this date, actually, because she was posting something today about it. But she was diagnosed with DCIS. I have to read this. This is one I don't know how to read this. DCIS invasive ductal carcinoma is E plus P plus HER2 plus. She ended up getting a double mastectomy. She was on chemo. So my sister's still alive, and my sister is a 9-year survivor. Right?
Yay.
Right? I mean, that's great. So, but what's interesting is that they had 2 young children at the time, like young. So, so she started losing her hair like in clumps on her pillow, and the kids were like, "What's up with that?" You know, they're young enough, they just didn't know. And they told the kids right away, and I told Tim this before we went live, because I know it's kind of a touchy subject with some families, but it's really hard to not show that with your children when you're in really, really high chemo, and I don't even know how often she was getting it done, but and you're losing your hair, and your kids are like, "Oh, what's going on?" Right? So they actually put her in a chair, and her husband shaved her head while the kids watched. And I don't know if I think they helped, but I don't know how much they helped because they were pretty young. But they were okay with that, and it's good that they went through that with her. But they've always been very protective of her, and they actually both dress them in pink and actually go to all the breast cancer events and everything with my mom my sister, with my sister. And it's great. I mean, it's great that they have that kind of family relationship to do that. But she is a 9-year cancer survivor, and I'm really proud of her for that. She is really hardcore, exercising, everything. So she's really well. I mean, she is totally going to be a survivor probably for life. I'd be surprised if she is. I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if she is, because she's totally taking care of herself. So I'm really proud of her for that. But you guys, I just want to say something quick about this, is that it sounds like we have all this cancer in our family, but we don't. we don't. And my dad, not kidding, I don't know where the book is, but we have a book, a 3-ring binder like this big. My dad put together before he passed. He did all this genealogy stuff to figure out exactly where we came from, back to like 1500s with some of the families. So I mean, his side, his mother's side, his dad's side. Same thing with my mom's side of the family too. I mean, everything. We didn't really see any cancer, but way back then, I mean, who knows what happened? We do know that his mom had pancreatic cancer after his dad died. So some of that from stress, we don't know. I mean, nobody knows, right? That's why we need to get more money for leukemia and lymphoma. That's why we have to raise that money, because unfortunately, not a lot has changed. And I've heard the woman who's the president of leukemia and lymphoma in Pennsylvania talk about this. Mm-hmm. They really haven't done any more research or come up with new drugs or anything else to help people. If that's where you want to go with this. So, so I think it's important that that's why we're raising money.
Yeah, it's so important. And really it has varied in terms of which kinds of leukemia, right, in terms of right, like how much progress has happened. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, like I think less progress has happened maybe in terms of acute leukemia, as in I know a lot of progress has happened in terms of chronic leukemia, in terms of advancements with different oral chemo medication and things like that. But
right,
yeah, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is doing so much great work, and they definitely need lots of funding in order to continue doing the important work they do for research and providing funding for treatment, medication, and education. It's so important to be educated, because when you're diagnosed with cancer, you don't know what to expect. Like, you have no idea, you know, you find out you have cancer and you're just like, I have no idea what now, you know, like you just have no idea about anything, you know. So the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society provides so much information, which is so important to have just knowledge going forward. And shout out to Gabe Leal for being here. He provides so much. Speaking of knowledge and information, he shines the spotlight bright on LinkedIn Live creators. So it is so great to have him here. He says red is a great color on you, Jenny Gold. So
thank you. Actually, that's actually not red, but that's cool. It's fuchsia. I just say like, guys, it's actually fuchsia. It's not red. Right?
Yes. And Dorothy is also joining us. So thank you for being here, Dorothy. Dorothy is also helping out with the event coming up. So great to have you here. Yeah, just thanks everyone. The comments just keep going. It's the comments that never end, and we appreciate you. So keep commenting for sure. So Jenny, both your mom and dad have passed. And so how do you go about, or how have you gone about grieving their losses?
It's been kind of rough lately, just because there's been times I just want to call them and say, hey, I need your opinion on this, or hey, what should I do about that? Because they're both very strong people. That's where I get it from. But when you say to me, like, when people say to you, well, how can you keep going? How can you keep doing this with your life? Like, I just don't know any different way. Like, I don't know how to not be as active as I am. But not right now, though, because of COVID. I'm definitely slowing down, because I'm not going out at all, and it's just not as, I mean, a very, very, very social. I'm known as a big connector, big networker person in Colorado, or in Denver, I should say, actually across the country. So it's hard not to be able to be out with everybody. So that's tough for me, even though they're lifting the mask mandate, which we're not going to talk about that. But I'm just saying, for me, though, I'm still not definitely comfortable with that. So it's a little bit difficult I mean, I know people want to get out and everything, but some of us, I know my friend who has cancer, she said, I said, when you're wearing this mask everywhere, but she's like stage 4 right now too, breast cancer. So I don't blame her. She lives here. So I think it's just hard because I'd like to be able to talk to them or speak with them to get their opinions on things. Not necessarily that, but other things. So I kind of miss that. I do miss that.
Yeah.
They're
I can
very,
understand that.
yeah. They're always 100% behind me with things. Well, not always, because I just move I'd be like, I'm moving across the country. They'd be like, okay, but I would like seriously do that. So but now I can't do that anymore. I just physically can't do that anymore. So I just miss that. Yeah.
Well, you're always so supportive of everyone, Jenny. And Mark says, yes, you are, Jenny. You are a great connector. And that's true.
Mark
and
is.
what's that, Jenny?
Well, Mark is too. Katie, there's Katie. I love Katie.
Yeah.
Has the
Can't wait
best
to have her on the show.
Yeah. Next week, get ready for the blueberries. Wild blueberries. He's going to talk to you about that, Tim.
Wild blueberries.
Wild blueberries. Yep, every morning. I eat the wild blueberries every morning. Like, seriously. It's good for you. Really good for you. Yep. And Mark tastes it too.
Inger says you two are just amazing. You're amazing, Inger. Inger is also part of the event coming up.
Yes, she is. I'm really happy for you, Inger.
So thank you,
Inger. Be on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, let us know. Do you have any questions? Let us know. Just like it says down here, let us know what questions you have. We want to know.
Yeah, it's right there, right there. And it's probably kind of quick, guys. But I mean, I really have only talked about this twice, so it's a little bit hard for me. But I didn't even eat the bacon yet. We're gonna
You're doing great, Jenny. Yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Ashok says grief helps us. Oh no, wait. Ashok says grief helps us to let go, but we never forget.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
It's true. So Jenny, you've been through a lot in your life with autoimmune diseases, and now with the passing of your parents. How do you manage to keep an upbeat attitude?
I'm not sure, because when I was diagnosed with Lyme, whatever they thought it was, I just didn't know any different. Like, I was always like, I have to keep going and get another internship because that's what I wanted to do. I had 5 internships when I had Lyme, like really bad. Like, that's just what I did. And I knew I had to finish college. I had to get a job. Like, that's just what you do. That's what I was taught. So that's just what my life was going to be, right? So I just kept doing. I just kept going. And other people in here are going to call the Energizer Bunny, but I have 2. They're like, oh my God, your batteries never run out. I'm like, I know. But lately, though, after I started these podcasts when I was just taping them like a year and a half ago, and a lot of people don't know this. So, I mean, I've probably almost hit the 100 mark myself. So I was doing this for a while, and all of a sudden, I started doing the live ones. We started getting very real, and so that's when I had to take a break. For like, Tim knows that, for like 2 or 3 months. And I came back, and Tim says, "Hey, I'm gonna have a show now. Will you please let's come out on your show?" I'm like, again? I'm like, okay. And I came back early because of Tim. But how can you say no to your teacher? Right, Tim?
That's true. When the second time that you came back, it was with me and Kara, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Because you're like, come on. I was like, I'm not going to come out of hibernation. You're like, yes, you are. I'm like, okay. And everybody's like, oh my God, she's coming back already. I was going to wait until the first of the year, and that didn't really work. So, but I'm glad that I did. People don't forget about who you are. They don't, everybody. So if you ever need to take a break, just take a break. They're not going to forget you. They're not going to forget you, especially if you have bacon.
That's true. You are definitely unforgettable, especially, I mean, for many reasons, but the bacon, I mean, who shows up with bacon because you think somebody might cry on your show?
Actually, it's because I had a couple people on that were vegans, and they were like, I woke up from my surgery and they said, I would like some bacon, please. I was like, you did not say that, and you just said it on an international podcast, and now your friends are going to know that you wanted bacon. They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. So that's kind of funny. Right? Yeah. I mean, the things that come out sometimes on your podcast, you just go, I had no idea. I had no idea that was going to happen, right?
Oh
No
my
idea.
gosh.
It's okay though. It's totally okay. And I mean, I was a journalism major. That's what I did. So it's just kind of doesn't surprise me that much. Except journalists typically don't cry when they're interviewing people. They get fired.
Yeah. Oh, Emily said, thanks for encouraging a break. I'm taking one this summer and it's a little scary, Jenny Gold.
Emily, nobody forget you. Come on.
I'll tell you that Jim isn't able to do the Tim and Jim show next week. And he said, let me know if you want to do it yourself or if you want to get a co-host. And I said, we're not doing it next week. I said, I need a break. And we rarely don't do the Tim and Jim show, but it's not happening next week.
I know, right?
It's not. Because between the 24-hour event and the 12-hour event, and like, I just need a break. So next week, there's no Tim and Jim show. And life will go on. It's okay.
I had a couple of people during when my mom was passing. They're like, "Are you gonna have a show this week?" I'm like, my mom is like, every other day, like, she's gonna pass tonight. She's gonna pass tonight. I mean, it's going on like night after night. I was like, I don't know. That's why I just started canceling people, or not canceling, but rescheduling people. I mean, I'm still rescheduling people from, right? Saying people I reschedule them, but it's just because it's worth it, you guys, because you really need to take some time to grieve. Dorothy Ann knows this. You've seen Dorothy Ann right here, but Dorothy Ann knows this for sure.
Yeah, she's here.
Right. But she knows for sure. She's had to do that from her dad when her dad passed. A little bit. I don't know how long if you did take a break, Dorothy Ann, but if you did, it's okay. Nobody forgets who you are. You're in my class with Tim. Come on.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So many people that have been part of the Open Your Hearts event have been in my live streaming courses.
Yeah.
It's been so great. But this show is not about me. It's about Jenny Gold and her family story and your story. So let's get back to the questions. How about that, Jenny Gold?
That sounds great.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
And
yeah. I'm going to reflect on you. Did you notice that?
What happened?
I deflect. I go, and Tim, what do you think about that?
See, this is what happens when you have two hosts on a show together. That's what happens.
I did that on Mark's show the other day. I was like, and how do you feel about that, Mark? He's like, yeah, I know, I'm feeling great. I'm like, okay, that's great. I totally screwed up the interview. I was like, sorry about that, Mark. I did. I played it Tim.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Jenny, you have a live stream show called Podcast Not Podcast. Speaking of two hosts, where you interview all sorts of people with autoimmune diseases, people who have cancer, and all sorts of other people. You gave me the safe space to share my cancer story for the first time. So thank you for that. So why did you create Podcast Not Podcast, Jenny? And has the reason that you do that show changed over time?
I'd say yes, because I'm having people on that aren't autoimmune related. So I'm kind of like, I mean, not all cancers are autoimmune related. Most of them probably aren't. But I am having people on that aren't autoimmune related, not just for cancer, but other illnesses too, because I just feel it's nice for people to actually have a voice to be able to talk about what's going on in their world. And having to go back to work right now and not being able to work from home anymore, a lot of people are really struggling with that. So I want them to know that you can talk to other people about it, especially because they have a little bit angst about leaving their kids at home now. With anybody, they just want to be there with them. So if they want to talk about that, that's fine. I am not a therapist. I mean, I'm not. So I mean, I just ask questions that they want me to ask or have people understand what's going on. I do think it's hard right now. Like I said, for families right now to go back to work, and even if you don't have kids or a husband or a wife or anything, to go back, some people are still nervous about that. I don't blame them. So
yeah, definitely. It's such a changing world right now.
It is.
So many people are in a transition because they were like during COVID, we were so many of us were stuck at home.
Yeah.
And then some of us went back to work, or we were working at home and we're still working at home, or and now we're trying to figure out,
Right.
you know, are we still going to work at home? Are we going to go work? Are we going to get a full-time job somewhere else, or a part-time job and still work at home and have our own business? Or, you know, what next, you know? And full-time, and companies themselves are trying to figure out, you know, because people like us are wanting different things too, you know. So employees are wanting different things. So just like the whole world is different.
It's different now. It's definitely different. Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you because Rose Horowitz just got here. I love Rose.
Rose Horowitz is here.
He's here. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Rose. Rose had an awesome show the other night on the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Really great show, Rose. And Stefan produced the show, I believe. Stefan Kaplan. So shout out to Rose and shout out to Stefan.
Yeah.
I'm
a big family.
And Ashok said it's hard to be the passenger seat of your own car. I believe he's talking about having two hosts here on the show tonight. So yeah. And Dorothy said, I still did the show, but I didn't do anything else besides work and the one show for about a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yes,
Ashok said, you are an amazing producer, Tim. Thank you. Yeah. Mark said, good for you, Tim, about taking a break next week for the Tim and Tim show.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. You all are amazing. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. So I was just gonna say, I was laid off like a month after pandemic started, after March of 2020. So it's kind of like, okay, I'll find something else. But then you're like, well, what am I gonna do, right? And I don't know. Like, you can get a full-time job though, and you can work from home. This is so crazy. Like, there's so many jobs out there that you can work from home if you want to. They're high-level jobs too. I mean, they're not like, oh, you're gonna be assistant. I don't know, whatever kind of admin assistant or something. We're talking, these are like VPs of marketing. Like, I'm like, wow, actually you can do that from home now? I mean, I used to work from home when I was ill, but I just didn't know I'd be able to do it from home. It was great. But at least these big corporations are realizing that people were getting more stuff done at home. This is one of my big things right now. If you're getting more stuff done at home, let's say you have Lyme disease, or let's say you have autoimmune disease or something else, and you're able to see your doctors when you need to, and you can actually get stuff done you get done to keep yourself well and get more done at work, at home, then I think that some of these corporations are seeing that now. That's a big thing of what I'm talking about too. That I want corporations to understand that people aren't just sitting at home and watching like N-word, Netflix, right? But I was sitting home and like watching that stuff, or your soap operas, eating bonbons, you're just doing that, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. So Jenny, what do you love about being a live stream host, and what do you find the most challenging about it?
I'd say what I love about this is that I've met people from all over the world. I've always been like that. I've always met people from all over the place. And now I'm not in LA anymore. So I was in LA, as you just noticed, in San Diego. I met a ton of people, right? And you were just meeting people in that conference, but people outside of the conference too. And you meet a ton of people. I don't have that here as much as Denver. I do, but not as much as on the coast. So it's nice to be able to it's not nice to not be able to travel around the world right now, because I wasn't doing that anyway right now. But I can talk to people, like our friends in Cyprus. Where is he, by the way? He's not here.
I think maybe it's a crazy hour at this time.
I think it is too. And they don't want to be up at 3 a.m. I'm just kidding. But I mean, talk to people in South Africa, Cyprus, England, China, whatever. I mean, you're talking to all these people, and you're just like, wow. And we're all the same. We're all the same. I don't care what your religion is. It doesn't matter to me. We're all the same. We all bleed blood, right? We all have blood. We're just the same. We're the same. We have hair. We don't all have hair, though. But you know what I mean? It's kind of like...
Some of us have more hair or less hair or no hair.
Yes. Hair, no hair. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's kind of like people that aren't used to having or meeting other people from other countries are actually doing that now because of live casting, right? Podcasting and all this stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's
When I
true.
met you, Tim, you reached out to me and said,
Now you're doing this. You're doing this again. And now you're going to interview me. This is like when you tried to do this with Jason Freeman kind of thing. Although I guess you
basically,
guys
I'm like,
planned that, right?
he said to me, you interview me and I'll interview you. I'm like, okay. It's like the first piece I've ever done that. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. Like, we can
Oh
do
my
that.
gosh.
I know,
All right.
right?
What are you asking me? I'll allow you to ask me one question.
I was going to say, remember you contacted me and said, hey, you want to learn how to go live now? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Go to your class.
And here we are.
And here we are. Now we have a green light. It's not on right now, though. And here's my teeth. Should we tell everybody the rule of Tim? The first rule of Tim. If you're gonna do live streaming.
The first rule?
Yeah.
Is that the brush your teeth rule?
Yeah.
Yes, brush your teeth. That is the first rule of live streaming when you sign up for my course.
Yes.
Now you don't need to sign up for my course. At least you won't. You learn the first rule.
Exactly right. That's hilarious. Yeah. So should we tell them the Boyd story?
The Boyd story.
Yeah.
Well, maybe first we should get through our other questions first.
Yes, we can. Sorry.
Yes.
I know you had more.
And were you going to ask me a question?
That was my question. Do you remember did you remember when you
asked? The first rule.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not that, but also that you asked me if I wanted to go learn how to go live. Remember? Yes.
Oh, right.
I mean, I kind of jumped into this because of Howard Kaufman. He's not here yet. Howard Kaufman and Russ Johns and DJ and Gabe, all those guys who they first interviewed me, Michael P. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I guess I'll learn how to do that. And here I am. Yeah.
Bam, bam.
Bam.
So Jenny, do you have any funny stories that you want to share from any of your shows?
Oh, here it is. The Boyd story. What's the story? Is there any other funny ones? I think
no. You know what though? Maybe first, if you want to, do you want to talk about your GoFundMe before we do that?
Sure, that's fine. I'm not exactly sure what to say other than I've had a GoFundMe for about 3.5 years for Lyme disease and for me because Lyme disease is not covered by insurance, and I probably spent $500,000 through insurance and everything else, family money, like everything, to try and keep me alive. And I wish my parents were here to hear me say this, but it's tough and it's really tough. So my friends here in Colorado, they're like, in the cannabis industry, like, I can't believe it's taking you this long to get a GoFundMe. I'm like, okay. And I put it up and I was bawling. As usual. And here I am crying. I'm like trying to like read it because my friends were like rewriting it and this and that. I'm like, I don't want it to sound that bad. They're like, oh, you are that bad. I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, yes, you are. Because I was starting to go downhill. So when you guys see the electric wheelchair, that's a totally new thing for me. I mean, I was still going to events, walking 1,200 people in a crowded room, events, like huge events. And now I can't do that. So I don't like to say I can't, but Katie's getting mad at me. Okay, Katie, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better fast. But I'm learning now not to say I can't right now because I never said I can't do anything. But right now I'm kind of a stalemate right now. So my GoFundMe is still up. But people think, oh, she's raised almost $40,000, but that money is gone because that goes to doctors. It goes to cost of living, not cost of living, but I've had to move apartments a couple of times because they're not handicap accessible, things like that. So that money goes to a very good use and not to go buy new clothes or anything. I wish it was. Right. So.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we brought up the GoFundMe. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys have the resources to definitely support Jenny Gold. The link is down below in the ticker. I also put it in the comments. So it should on all the platforms be in the comments. So you could just click it. And if you can't, just copy and paste the link. And if you can, whatever you can is appreciated to support Jenny.
But make sure you support like the Leukemia Lymphoma Society too, right?
That too. All the things.
There
Whatever
needs to
you
be
can do.
right. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
funny
Thank you,
story?
Jenny. But back to Boyd's or whatever funny story you want to share about live streaming.
Well, that was kind of funny, though, don't you think?
That
We
was
were
funny. Yes, tell us what happened. You were live streaming, right? You were live streaming at the Open Your Hearts and Wallets 24-hour event. You were interviewing Boyd Dunleavy, and then what happened?
were we like 25 minutes in? We were 25 minutes in. And I was
pretty
I
far
was on
in.
for an hour, right? And
Yeah.
DJ was DJ in the back too? Was DJ and you both? You guys were both in the background, right? I was like,
yeah.
All of a sudden he like, all of a sudden he gets up. He's like, I'll be right back. And we're like, okay. It was kind of funny because I was just like, okay. Oh, sorry. Katie just said something here. Oh, instead of towards new clothes, instead of medical bills, it's not. No, I don't need new clothes. That's okay. It's for medical bills. So what he does is he stands up and he's like, I'll be right back. And we're like, we're live, you guys. These things are live for an hour, and it's like on the mark. I mean, you're like, hours up or off. Like goes to the next one, right? So we're sitting here going, okay. I'm like, I'm very cognizant of people with their if they have trigger words or anything like that on my show. But I already asked him, hey, do you have any trigger words? Is there anything you don't want to talk about? He's like, no, I didn't talk about anything. Ask me any questions. So I said to him, I'm like, do we do a trigger word? He goes, I don't think so. I'm like, okay, well, why don't we go to the next video? So Tim brings on the president of the Cancer League, not Cancer League, sorry, the Human Lymphoma Society, right? So we show her thing, and we're like, what's going on? So
right.
He does not come back. He does not come back. He does not come back. And I'm like, right, next video, please. Like we talked about a couple more things about Boyd and how he's going to run the marathon in Boston, and we talked about the fact that his stem cells came from a U.S. naval person in Japan. They flew did they fly the stem cells to Canada? I think they did, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly how that worked.
Yeah, I think they did that. So anyway, we're trying to tell the story, and all of a sudden he comes back. There's like literally 5 minutes left. We're like, oh, hi, Boyd. He's like, you're never going to believe what happened. He's like this, you are never going to believe what happened. We're like, okay. This guy showed up downstairs, walked in their door. This old gentleman walked in the door, had on slippers, really thin, jacket. He had actually crawled out the window of an assisted living place or somewhere and walked 30 miles. They said he walked 30 miles in the snow. I mean, it was below zero.
That's crazy.
Walked in his front door, and his front. I mean, he has I think a big field or something in front of his house. And did somebody drop him there? Who knows what happened? All we know is that his wife and him called the police, and the police came and picked him up. And they said, oh, they've been looking for him. So they've been looking for him in not California, in Canada. And he totally just walked or something. And he was fine. But how crazy is that, you guys? Because he had this gentleman had no idea. I don't know if it was Alzheimer's or what it was, but he literally walked in slippers. And that's what happened on my show with him.
Yes.
We were dying for him to tell his whole story. They were like, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Cool. It was pretty funny though. It was funny at the time. And they keep on Facebook and LinkedIn the next day and apologized to everybody. Said he was on our show and this and that. People were probably like, what are you talking about? But yeah, it did happen. See,
it was so strange. It was so strange that he left. And I too was wondering, that's so weird he left. I was like, did we do something to offend him? Or but then he came back and explains it all, and I was like, that's so bizarre.
He's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what happened.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, please. We have 5 minutes left. I'm like, sorry. But then we had to go to the next show. So
I wonder too, Rose Horowitz, who's in the comments, and any other live streamers that are watching live or on the replay, I would love to hear your stories in the comments. If you have a funny story from any of your live stream shows that you've done, if anything bizarre has happened during your shows, I would love to know in the comments. I bet Jenny would love to know too.
I would too. I guarantee Rose has a story.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure Mark has a story. Mark Kageyama. I bet he has a story. Emily Harmon. I bet you have a story.
Yeah.
Dorothy, I'm sure you have a story. You always have stories.
You always have stories, yes. Yeah. I'm sure Katie has a story too.
And D. Scott Smith, I bet he has a story.
Yeah.
Mary Fane Brandt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rose Harwood says, happy to support you and Jenny. So thank you, Rose.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
I have more stories. Because after...
Do you have more?
Oh, yeah, because how much time do we have?
We're 2 minutes over, but do you have one more story you want to share?
Yes. Because after your show, your show on my show, how's that? You on my show, how's that? That's when Steve Sullivan said, hey, I want to be on your show. And I'm like, okay. A lot of people have heard Steve's his story, right? And so we talked the next day, and he tells me his story, and I'm like, you've never mentioned that before. He's like, I know, because I mentioned it on your show. I'm like, it's like, because he got Hep C from a blood transfusion, but now it's gone. But he told the story, and it happens sometimes. But this was like, it doesn't really happen anymore. But this was like what, in the 80s or 90s, I believe. I'm not sure. They weren't testing for Hep C then. And everybody said that, and I was like, does anybody else know about this yet? He's like, no, I'm gonna tell you on your story, on your show. And I'm like, okay, just because Chip came out on my show doesn't mean I have to like. So I mean, it's interesting how people feel comfortable with you sometimes, and all of a sudden these things come out. You're like, whoa. Bert just said he has no stories. I don't believe that.
What's that? No, Mark, you have no funny stories?
No way. I don't believe it.
No, like funny or bizarre or something strange.
He does because
you must.
When he got that cancer, his biopsy on his lung, they actually went back and it was infected because they actually did it too close, that biopsy too close to the cancer. Yeah.
But I mean, from one of his guests that he's interviewed, like either on his YouTube channel or on Clubhouse or something. Katie said, uncontrollable coughing attack. I had to mic drop it and end that live stream. Oh, that's not really funny, but that is memorable.
Yes, it could be.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I've had any. Man.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
I'll have to think about it. I've done so many live streams. I'm sure there's something that's.
How about the game?
What's that?
How about the game? Did you ever have a funny one with Gabe?
With Gabe?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Do you ever have a funny one with Gabe? There's no way you haven't had a funny one with Gabe before. I have.
I don't think so.
No?
I haven't been on many live streams with Gabe before.
So I'm talking like over a year ago when I was on. That was my second live stream. I was like, what's happening here? I was like, there were too many like squirrels everywhere. I was like, there are all these people on. How about Gabe, Reggie, Nancy, me? I mean, there were like 5 or 6 people there. I'm like, what's going on here? And I didn't even, it's the second time I've ever done that before. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
All right.
I don't see any other funny ones. Anyway, we are over our time.
Yes, we are over. Thank you for being on the show, Jenny Gold.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to say before I whiffed you off the screen gently?
I love you.
Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so proud of you too. I really am proud of you. I mean,
I'm so proud of you too.
Thank you. But I mean, the things that you've done last year, amazing. It hasn't even been a year yet, has it? No.
In June will be 1 year, which is only like 2 months away.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell people how to get in touch with me?
Yeah, tell us. How can we get in touch with Jenny Gold?
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, you guys. I have podcast is my live stream, but I'm on YouTube. If you guys like YouTube, then under Jenny's Gold Standard or Jenny Gold, but Jenny's Gold Standard is the one you should look for. Also on Facebook is Jenny's Gold Standard or Jenny Gold, and also on LinkedIn also. Today's Gold Standard or Jenny Gold. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Connect with her.
I'm trying to get my numbers up on YouTube like everybody else.
Yes, definitely. Definitely a good idea. Oh, Ross Brand is here. Hey, Ross.
Wait, yes. Hi, Ross. Yay.
Thank you so much. Thank
It's
you
so
so
fun to
much.
hear.
You are awesome as well.
Yes, you are, Ross.
Wow.
I mean, talk about having a big guy on your. You introduced me to Ross, actually, Ross Brand.
Did I?
Yeah, because you asked all of us if we wanted to be in his podcast. Not his podcast, it was his class.
Yeah, that's right. And then Katie said, "Have a wonderful night." Thank you, Miss Jenny Gold. So formal, Miss Jenny Gold.
I have my wild blueberries in the morning. Everybody, wild blueberries. They have to be wild. Yes, I'm telling you right now. Detox like crazy. It's very good for you. Very good.
Shout out to Detox.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, Jenny, I'm going to whiff you into the green room.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up for Jenny Gold tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Up next on Friday, as part of the Open Your Hearts and Wallets event, which reminder is from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, right down there. Fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I'll be having a conversation with Gregory Proctor, who's a multiple myeloma survivor. Jenny Gold has actually interviewed him before. And so I'm going to be interviewing Gregory Proctor as part of a special episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer as part of the first hour of Open Your Hearts and Wallets on Friday. So I'm excited for that. And then also on Friday, at the noon hour, I'll be interviewing Alicia Jones. Alicia's daughter, Courtney, passed from leukemia, lymphoma at the age of 10. So she's going to be sharing about Courtney's story. And also she created a nonprofit organization in her memory. So she'll be sharing about that as well at noon. And then Katie, who is here in the comments, will be our guest next Tuesday on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. So I'm excited about that as well. Let us know if you would like to be a guest on the show. If you want to be a guest, if you want to share your connection and perspectives on cancer, just send me a direct message. Be happy to have a conversation with you and see if you'd be a good fit for the show. It's as simple as that. Also, if you'd like to sponsor the show, would love to have a conversation with you about that as well. Nancy says, you are doing great work with these. Nancy is actually one of the live stream hosts for this coming Friday's event as well. So thank you, Nancy Lewis Hill. You are an amazing friend and live streamer and all the things. So thank you for showing up tonight. Really appreciate it. Just a reminder that you don't have to wait to donate. That's kind of a rhyme. You don't have to wait to donate to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. The link is down there. And appreciate any amount that you can give, because every dollar counts, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society does such important work, especially for pediatric blood cancers. So thank you, everyone, for showing up tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. I'll see you hopefully on Friday. Friday event, Open Your Hearts and Wallets, goes 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So excited for that event. So many people are working so hard to bring that event together. I am operating on 1 hour of sleep tonight, so but happy to do it. Anyway, I will see you Friday. If not, I'll see you Tuesday for another episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. I'm going to take us out just like I bring us in, and maybe you'll want to do a little dancing just like I'm going to do behind the scenes right now. Here we go. Let's do the tap.